Hello, ladies and gentlemen. So, today we're going to be doing our video of Saturn in the 7th house of your Navamsa chart. And what happens when Saturn is in the 7th house of your D9 Navamsa chart, which is, one of the most important charts in Vedic astrology, especially related to marriage, related to the strength of your planets, the second half of your life. It shows what a person develops into in their adulthood. It's not really the final say of who you are. That is obviously the Sastyamsha. But Navamsha is still extremely important. Why? Because, look how many people will be born in 2 hours time period versus 15 minutes of the Navamsha. So it becomes important. And obviously, once you know the accurate time of birth, then the 2.5 time period of Sastyamsha will pretty much give the final say. So this is a very important chart. And mainly we see this chart for the life after marriage, how the marriage is, how the marriage partner is. And as always, if you do not know, if you have Saturn in the 7th house of your D9 Navamsha, or what your other astrological details are, along with the other planets in your D9 Navamsha, check out the links in the description at astrologykrs.com under shop section. And also, I don't know if you guys know, I implemented the installment payment for my academy, Magha Vedic Astrology Academy. Finally was able to do it, implement it on my website. So now it's there, so where people can just play in installments and join and learn the beauty and the simplicity of astrology. So, Saturn in the 7th house of your D9 Navamsha chart. And those of you who do not know, I am, out of state on a business, of course. But business, the location of business is quite interesting. So let me see if you can see where I'm at here. See that? I don't know if you guys can see where I'm at. Hopefully you can see this Eiffel Tower, the Paris Eiffel Tower in the back. Oh no, he's in Paris. He's in Paris. So, Saturn, whoa, talk about being washed out. Hello. There you go. So, Saturn in the 7th house. See, it's amazing how Saturn is delay. And I'm just delaying my video on Saturn in the 7th house. and imagine today Moon is in Revati Nakshatra, which is the birth star of Saturn. So, there you go. And that's how we learn astrology. And look at the theme of the water down there. But believe it or not, Saturn is far, far better in the 7th house in Navamsha versus Jupiter. Because you got to understand one thing. And this is where you can decipher anything in astrology, once I tell you this. Wherever planets are originally exalted, those are the planets that signifies the balance and the dharma of that life's focus. So for example, Mars is exalted in the 10th house of reputation and obligation to society. Okay? So if we want to look at somebody's reputation, somebody's status in life, Mars is positioned in the birth chart and its transit becomes extremely important for career and promotion. This is just basic stuff. We all know this. But why it was that, this is the reason why. More than Saturn, look at Mars. When it comes to marriage, when it comes to dealing in a unionship, we quickly go to Venus. Okay? But guess what? Guess who's exalted in the sign of Venus in the 7th house in Libra? It is Saturn. Saturn is responsible for agreements, negotiations, sacrifices, dealing with a partner. Because partnership is not about sex. It's not about making out and love. It's a business agreement. It's a karmic agreement. This is why we actually see that a person, okay, will be, well, this looks bad. Oh, Lord, what did I do? Okay. This is why we see that a marriage is not done for love. Marriage was really done for bringing two families together, two kingdoms together, two businesses together, two ventures together. That's what marriage was done. And so Saturn becomes very, very important in dealing in agreements, okay, in dealing in agreements of the marriage. And in the seventh house, it shows the person, it gives them lessons in life to learn about compromise, to learn about agreements and contracts of dealing with another life, of handling another karmic life. And obviously, as they say, marriage is a deal you make with your enemy from past life. K.N. Rao actually said that in his book, I believe Yogi, Destiny, and a Wheel of Time, where he talked about how, you know, your opponents, your enemies, is actually the seventh house. Sixth house represents the battle with them, but seventh house is the enemy. Seventh house is the opponent, and this is why when you see, old married couples or just couples themselves, they're always constantly fighting and bickering. Why? Because they are learning how to be in agreement with each other, how to be in contract with each other. So here you will find a person who is very determined to be with a person in a practical, realistic contract and not have illusions, not have overblown expectations of something like Jupiter would do. Here, a person will be like, yes, I realize that, you know what? Marriage is going to require me to not just travel whenever I want. Marriage is going to require me to not just hang out with people and my friends as I want. Marriage is going to require me to work even longer hours at work so I can provide for the spouse or provide for the children. Yes, this is the agreement that I have, that I think that I do want to make, because I do like the companionship aspect of that. I do want to wake up next to someone, but yes, I do know that I have to sacrifice these, uh, you know, idiosyncrasies of my life for the agreement. So this is why people do it. And this is where Saturn actually gives a very strong, um, appetite to deal with the marriage and the conflict of the marriage. This is a person that finds patience in the marriage. This is the person who is able to, when the spouse is, angry, when the spouse is mad, this person is able to not jump to conclusion and fight back. They're able to find patience that, you know what, okay, fine. Even if it's their fault, I am still the other half. I have some fault as well. Okay, maybe I should just apologize and I should take easy with this and not get angry at the same time. So Saturn does very well in that. Now, of course, this is just a basic, you know, message of Saturn in the seventh house, because, of course, depending upon how Saturn is in the seventh house, it's gonna bring that type of restrictions and karma into play. There's a lot of there's good contracts in life, there's bad contracts in life, and then there are disastrous contracts in life. So these are the contracts you're gonna deal with contract. But what kind of contract are you getting? Look at Saturn in Navamsa. Regardless of even in the seventh house, look at Saturn in Navamsa. Like, I remember I was doing this marriage consultation of a person who was 28 years old, still young, because nowadays people, you know, don't tend to get married till their 30s. Even in India, it's becoming quite normal now. And they were just saying that, will my partner be faithful to me? Will I even get married because of the Saturn in the seventh house? Because a lot of astrologers have said that I will not get married. Of course, Saturn in the seventh house has nothing to do with yes and no to marriage. If you have a yoga of no marriage, then of course, even the greatest planet in the seventh house will not give marriage, because the yoga is not there, the permission is not there. But seventh house, this person's seventh house, Saturn was in the seventh house, especially in Uttara Falguni Nakshatra, which is a nakshatra of marriage contracts, which is a nakshatra of legal bindings. And Saturn was right there, the planet that controls this aspect of life. Of course, this person is going to have a beautiful marriage. Of course, this person is going to find the perfect match for themselves that is really going to complement them, and that is really going to, help them to kind of exercise and execute their karmas in this life. So it's not a bad deal at all. Now, one thing we do see with Saturn in the 7th house in Navamsa is that your relationship with the father and siblings of the spouse will be restrained. It'll be very karmic. You won't like dealing with that part of life. Also, whenever you travel, there will be some obstacle. Whether you're married or not, when you travel, there's some obstacle, especially on pilgrimage. And there's always obstacle when you're trying to meet your guru with this particular Saturn. The other thing you'll want to see, like if you ever injure your hands or there's some pain in the hand with Saturn in the 7th house in Navamsa, you will see if you have a guru in your life, some spiritual guru in your life, you will see how their health does not do well. And the other thing we see with this particular Saturn is that this person will do very well with communication, with media. They will do excellent with marketing and sales. They will know how to sell an agreement to someone, how to make them sign that contract, how to make them sign on the line which is dotted, like Alec Baldwin says in Glengarry Glen Ross. You hear me? I won't say the next thing he said. You hear me, you effing bro? Yeah. So that's one thing about Saturn too. The other thing we also see with the Saturn, debts. Once debts are controlled, financial debts are controlled, once enemies are in control, once obstacles are in control. Because here Saturn knows how to make agreements with the enemy, knows how to make agreements with the obstacles. Okay? So guys, this was my analysis of Saturn in the 7th house of your D9 Navamsa chart. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below. Again, want to know where your Saturn is placed, all your books, reports, consultations, check out the link in the description, or check out my link to my academy at KRSchannel.thinkific.com, where, like I said, I have now installment payments so people can just learn, and it's the cheapest. It's probably my academy is probably the cheapest academy, with the 1 year long of hard work that I'm putting even now. I'm still not done with all the lessons. I actually have to film a lesson today, which is the third part to Dasha planets, where I'm teaching how to make predictions without even knowing where the planet is of the Dasha. Because there's certain things that a planet brings regardless of what it does. Okay? So anyway, guys, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.